Hey, Little Lolo, coming back down to earth here. And when we think about Twitch or live streaming and who the top dogs are respectively, we usually think about Ludwig, Miskiff, IShowSpeed, Aiden Ross, Summit1G, Soda Poppin', Ninja, and even, of course, Kai Cenat. But we don't think about this one streamer that I'm sure the vast majority aren't aware of, or at least aren't talking about in contention for the best streamer of the year. Hell, the only reason I became aware of him was because of a Dexerto post that surfaced a few months back emphasizing his subscriber count, saying that he was the #1 most subscribed streamer on Twitch. Now, why is nobody talking about this? I've heard of Kai Cenat a numerous amount of times, especially after he broke the subscriber count record early this year in February. Same goes for Ludwig. Once he beat the subscriber count record during his subathon early 2021, people were mentioning his name everywhere. So why is nobody from the Twitch or streamer community mentioning this one streamer's name, especially after his astronomical boom in the last year? Jynxzi, who is currently the #1 most subscribed streamer on Twitch at this very moment, which initially I thought was just a running gag that he had with his community because of the lack of coverage that was given for his consistent sub count. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? He did this without a subathon, nor did he need any additional theatrics that every normal streamer has to do in order to get to the top. And he earned this reputation by just playing games. Games, the centerfold of what Twitch once represented. None of these just chatting Andes that take a majority of the population on Twitch nowadays. Granted, I do enjoy some of these just chatting streamers, but still, it's amazing how one streamer was able to play games and shoot himself to the top of the hierarchy, to the top of the rankings, something that hasn't been done since Ninja. But instead of playing a popular game like Fortnite, Jynxzi has done it with a dead game, Rainbow Six Siege. Something that a lot of big streamers can't say they've done, or careers would be over if they even attempted it. Jynxzi literally, just like Banjo with Kazooie, strapped Rainbow Six Siege on his back and carried it to the top 1% of Twitch. This achievement that he reached is a rarity. You're most likely to get eaten by a shark than to ever be the #1 most subscriber on Twitch. Hell, you're most likely to crash a plane in the water and then get eaten by a shark in that order than to ever receive the accolade that Jynxzi hit. This is like elite level status. This is God tier. This man is a king and he deserves his respect. He is a king, okay? He is a top dog. He is top dollar. Golden boy of Twitch. He is God tier. He is Zeus. We're all just living in his world. He is the main protagonist and we're just living in his world. He's a king of... You know what? I'm gonna stop glazing. I'll make sure to zip up before I'm done. I promise. So why is nobody on the Twitch scene really sitting at the round table and discussing Jynxzi? Well, this is my assumption, but I think it's because Jynxzi isn't really your typical streamer's streamer. Now, what do I mean by this? So, a streamer usually refers to somebody who is popular among the Twitch streamer crowd, a person that enjoys the culture and the foundation of what Twitch is and what it represents. Anybody who uses Twitch lingo like Kappa, Tryhard, Omega Law is usually an indication of somebody who is parading that Twitch flag around like Trump supporters back in 2016. But that's not what Jynxzi is. He's a lot more niche, and I think a lot of his growth came from his other platforms like on YouTube or TikTok, so he doesn't really have that same camaraderie or love for the Twitch lore in comparison. Now granted, a lot of popular streamers also didn't have that love for Twitch either, right? But their growth as a streamer is usually in correlation to the community that resides on Twitch, and the connections that they make on Twitch will increase their orbit. Now think of an orbit like an audience. For streamers these days, the orbit that they revolve around is essentially different from others. An example of this would be the Minecraft orbit versus the offline TV and friends orbit, right? But to some extent, they intersect based off the mutuals that they have in these friend groups, like Tina Kitten and Foolish, that kind of are the middle ground of that Venn diagram that bring them closer and transfers some of the audience to some of these other orbits. Now, Jynxzi doesn't have an audience that spawns from Twitch. He hits more of the younger normie crowd, an orbit that revolves around the WL community, which is relatively a new crowd for the aging foundations of Twitch. A collection of people that reside on TikTok, which is massive in comparison to the population on Twitch. So he doesn't need to have connections with these other streamers in order to grow, because just like IShowSpeed on YouTube, he's already established, right? His following has been on a gradual increase without any assistance from any other streamers, so there's no reason to communicate with them. Also, the thing about the gaming community is that they have their own separate orbits. You have the Apex orbit, you have the Valorant orbit, you have the League of Legends orbit, you have the Fortnite orbit, and so on. And sometimes these games do intersect, right? Their orbits will intertwine with another, but for the most part, the viewers just want to watch the game that they enjoy and that game only. So for a lot of these other big streamers who are grinding out other FPSs or competitive games, probably don't know who Jynxzi is, since he is the only big streamer that is streaming in the Rainbow Six Siege category. Now granted, does this mean that nobody has talked about Jynxzi? I'm pretty sure that's not the case. I mean, he is the #1 most subscribed streamer on Twitch at this very moment. I'm pretty sure a lot of people, especially in the gaming community, have mentioned his name. An example of this would be Tim the Tatman, who made an entire react video of him reacting to Jynxzi's content. Jynxzi was pretty smart and tactical when it came to his content, uploading his rage clips on TikTok, gaining immediate traction. His collaborations with other big Rainbow Six Siege streamers, and him uploading pretty consistently on YouTube with his Rainbow Six Siege videos, building a relatively large audience, especially in the last year. I mean, if we just take a look at his Twitch tracker, Jynxzi really started to grow massively in late 2022, where he was initially averaging about 1 to 2K viewers per stream, which is still relatively high for any good streamer. But there was a continuous growth after that, where today he is now averaging about 30 to 40K viewers per stream, and once again currently holds the most subscribers on Twitch ever. Now, if you watched any of the Jynxzi clips, you would immediately know why he is popular. He is a natural entertainer, he is funny, he is charismatic, and he is constantly always on go mode. People have compared him to IShowSpeed and Tyler One because of his hilarious outburst and sporadic behavior. And to top this off, he represents not only the niche community of Rainbow Six Siege, but he is a purebred console player, which is where a lot of his content is centered around, where he watches other gamers' clips and send silly voice messages to other Xbox gamers. There are some streamers out there where you try to grasp why they were famous or how they were able to reach the audience that they did, but with Jynxzi, it is completely obvious how he was able to climb the ranks of Twitch. Anyways, that's all for me. I'm off to another dimension. See ya.